September 23rd at 4:22 p.m. For roll call, we have Matt Zacher appearing by Zoom, and present we have Brian Austin, Tom Rayom, Sherry Evanson, Patrick Delaney, and Jay Bemke for 6 attendees. Our first item is consider for adoption the action of the Plan Commission meeting that was held on September 23rd, today's date. Yes, Mr. Kearns, could you please read the minutes?
I don't have them completely done here, but I will read off my notes. So in attendance, we had Mayor Blazer, Chairperson, Alderperson Ryan Austin, Shane Burkhart via Zoom, Lee Tao, Susan Feith, and Ben Goodrow. The meeting was called to order at 4:01 p.m. Item 1, extraterritorial CSM Roger P. Lot, request for certified survey map approval to create one lot within the town of Rudolph. The subject property is located at 5644 Redden Road. Parcel ID is identified. Motion by Chairperson Blazer, second by Goodrow to approve item 1. Motion carried 6-0. Moving on to item number 2, Plan 210955, Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department. Public hearing and action on a request for a conditional use permit amendment to construct an addition and perform other site improvements at Fire Station 1, 1511 12th Street South. Parcel ID is identified. Public hearing public hearing opened at 4:06. Speaking in favor, none. Speaking against, none. Public hearing closed at 4:07. Motion by Feith, second by Tao, to approve item 2. Motion carried 6-0. Item number 3, adjournment. Motion by Tao, second by Goodrow, to adjourn. Motion carried 6-0. Adjournment at 4:09 p.m.
Sorry, thank you. What are your wishes regarding that report? Any questions or comments also? Go ahead, Patrick.
I'm just going to say on item 1, that he is landlocking 1700553. I think, if this was an in-city lot or something like that, that would have to be either combined with the lot south of it or an easement, but I'm just hoping that he is watching so that he can decide what he wants to do with that landlocked lot.
Thank you. Mr. Kearns.
Thank you for that. That's great to identify. I also caught that and did identify that with Adam at the county. His response was that because both parcels, the one to the south and to the north, are under the same ownership, that it would meet the county plating requirements. So with that being said, we don't really have jurisdiction over that, but it is brought to their attention. And I agree, hopefully the owner is aware of that if he were to sell that parcel that's landlocked, it might prove to be a little difficult without an easement. But good catch there. Thank you.
Thank you. And what are your wishes regarding that report?
So I'll move to approve the Planning Commission report, but can we, I'll move to approve the Planning Commission report and hold out item 2.
So we have a request to hold out item 2, but by Bemke, but to approve the balance of the report.
Correct.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Bemke, seconded by Delaney. Is there, to hold out item 2 and approve the balance of the report? Is there any discussion on item 1 that we already had, that we didn't cover? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right, aye.
And then, thank you. And then regarding item 2.
Well, I have a couple questions, and I think maybe before I ask the questions, if Chief Young would like to briefly comment on this, and then the email that we got from Sue this afternoon, if she could maybe walk us through that and explain it.
There doesn't look like anyone, oh yeah, David's on. I see his phone's here.
So I guess I
It's your
didn't,
con-
It's
your
the
contract.
contract that was sent, the guaranteed maximum price amendment that was sent, then I forwarded it to the alderpersons.
So just be careful. Okay, I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, David.
It might ricochet.
I guess first of all, I don't know if Chief wanted to say anything or not, but I do have a question, and I kind of started it before the meeting a little bit. Whose responsibility is it to see that these plans get to the Plan Commission? And that's my question.
I guess ultimately it was, I dropped the ball. I would put it on my shoulders. I thought we were zoned correctly. We're not bordering residential. We're not asking for any variances. So I thought it would need state approval and community development's approval. I guess I didn't realize it needed to go to Planning Commission, being just where we were located, no residents. We're not bordering any residential area. We're zoned properly. We're not asking for any variances on the project. We're all within setbacks, so I'll take responsibility for that.
Well, I'm not, I guess in my mind, this is the responsibility of either a project manager or an architect, not our fire chief. Maybe whoever's on would like to weigh in on this, or Kyle, is there a process or a procedure?
Would you like me to comment, or were you waiting
Please.
for? Okay. So typically, our office is in a position to respond. If a project's brought to our attention, we usually try to identify as early as possible the applicable zoning code requirements. We usually try to ask for a preliminary site plan as soon as possible, because again, we can provide a higher level of detail as how it relates to the zoning code and any other applicable codes. Sometimes we address signage early on, because that may dictate where the building is located. So yeah, typically if we receive a request, we try to respond quickly as possible, and that's the normal protocol. We typically don't, given the amount of projects and permits our office issues, we typically, don't follow up unless there's reason to. After we've identified the procedures, we kind of put the project back in the ball court of the applicant to pursue it whenever they're ready.
I guess my question is who's the I mean, it's the fire department's project, but we've got a project manager hired, and we have an architect that we've, I guess, essentially hired, and I guess it would, in my mind, it would fall to one of those two to make sure that this stuff. we follow
Talking
through.
with them again, it's kind of the direction I gave them. It's been approved by council. The funding's been approved by council. The concept's been approved by council. Everybody was aware of this project. It's been going on for 2 years, so I think we felt we've done everything that we needed to do. We've checked over variances and setbacks where the station could be placed, and we didn't need any variances due to the setbacks and the design of it. So ultimately, I think everyone on this team thought we did the proper process. So it's an oversight, and I'll take responsibility for it.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding? Yes, go ahead. Sue.
I guess I would just say, in my experience, when we hire an architect and engineer to work on a project, the contract is going to say that they're going to be, the permits and such, they're aware of those things. So with all due respect, Chief, I mean, I think I would lay some of the blame on the architects and engineers for not following through with community development to make sure that all the permits were obtained and the plans were shared and such. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
I guess my only comment going forward is this has happened. We're going to deal with it right now, hopefully, but going forward, that they're aware that anything that has to go through Kyle's department, that it's somebody's going to take care of it. So I guess I'm more concerned about what we're doing going forward than what's happened. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
I just want to note that from a flexibility standpoint, we have the ability to be flexible, and we have in this case in terms of calling a special meeting. And I appreciate the Plan Commission being able to attend the special meeting and the council members here tonight. But sometimes that's just the name of the game where you find yourself doing extra work or being flexible to accommodate a request. And I think from a level of service standpoint for the fire department, or from an economic development standpoint with a new business, there are timelines that developers have, and it's frequent, or I should say it's not infrequent that we're not having to adjust and be flexible for different requests like this. I think it's just part of the nature of our office and community development to be able to be accommodating to developers, contractors, builders with requests similar to this. So understand that there isn't any heartache from our office with regards to having to put together a Plan Commission packet and agenda and review the plans. I think it's just part of the nature of the department. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comment? Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
I have a question for Sue. I'm coming in late on this, and this might be a really dumb question, but you can expect that from me. You could, I can vote yay, nay, or abstain. Since I'm coming in so late on this, I don't want to affect the vote either way. Can I abstain from it for that reason?
You can abstain for any reason, and you do not need to give a reason to abstain.
Any other questions? So we have item number 2 of the Plan Commission report. What are your wishes? Good.
I would like an explanation of the email that was sent out this afternoon,
Oh.
I believe you have somebody from Myron on, if they could just run us through that.
Oh, is that the contract or?
Yep.
Right. And that's actually the next agenda item, right?
Yeah, it's item 4 of the.
So this is the conditional use that you would be contemplating approving from Plan Commission, and then the actual contract or the price amendment would be the next item.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the.
Item 2 of the Plan Commission report.
Correct.
We have a motion by Bemke, seconded by Rayom. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
And any abstentions? You abstain.
Aye.
So we have 7 A's and 1 I'm sorry. Wow. We have 5 A's and 1 abstention. Okay, moving on to item 4 is consider for approval the guaranteed maximum price contract with Myron Construction, including the award of trades bids and the selection of the alternate bid options for the Fire Station 1 renovation project. See attachment 1. Who would like to start with that item? Maybe Mr. Bemke, your question?
Well, my question is we just got this afternoon, so I haven't had a lot of time to look at it, and maybe if somebody could just explain what the document is and where we're headed. Thank you.
I just got it this afternoon too, and I forwarded it as soon as I received it. So maybe if David wants to go through and explain the amendment and the deducts and the options and so on. I'm not sure how exactly we want to do this, but if David could speak to that.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So forwarded Chief a copy of the recap of the bids and that sheet on Monday. The document that was received today is the actual just guaranteed maximum price amendment to our existing contract with Wisconsin Rapids. And basically what this does is it just establishes our guaranteed maximum price for the project, for the construction side of things. And then we acknowledge substantial completion date, and we had no accepted alternates at the time, but we did accept some value engineering items to get to our current guaranteed maximum price value. So the way the current contract that was signed and is set up doesn't have a value on it at this time. So the motion or the document in front of you today is just to establish that value, basically.
Does anybody have any specific questions for David? Go ahead.
Did you receive bids for the roof at the time that you let the bids? And if you did not, do we have some now?
We did not receive any bids for the roofing as it stands right now. On the guaranteed maximum price amendment in front of you, we're carrying a $70,000 allowance to cover the roofing. We've reached out to every roofer in the area and beyond to try and secure some bids. On bid day, we did get one late bid from Molina, who is not from the area, but they had an incomplete bid at the time. Their bid was for approximately $65,000. It appears that they were missing the fascia trim on around the roofing, and then the soffit, the vented soffit type material. So we feel at this time, based on just carrying a $70,000 allowance, that will be covered. We do have a lead. Todd at the fire station gave us another lead of a contractor that mentioned him would be interested. So we've reached out to them, and they said they're going to be getting us a bid. We should have it any day. We also reached back out to Molina to get a complete scope bid, and then we have one or two other potential bidders that said they were interested, but we haven't received bids yet. So to move the rest of the project forward and not delay anything any further, we decided to move with the guaranteed maximum price as it stands and carry a $70,000 allowance, and then just reconcile that upon award of the roofing package.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
so I'd just like to start off by saying I feel I can no longer support the timeline or the budget of this project. I feel upgrading our fire station's capabilities is absolutely needed, but financially speaking, the cost of this project continues to grow, and the time frame of good construction weather is passing by quickly, as seen with the latest frost advisory last night. The project is now nearing the $3 million mark. The West Side Fire Station remodel scope was taken off the table, yet the budget continues to balloon. It's my responsibility as an alderperson to ensure the city is doing the best it can to give fair pricing and sound planning for construction projects. So, as previously mentioned, this project is now looking to break ground in October. The Common Council has done everything in their power to help expedite the construction process, but issues with, like we've heard tonight, with securing a proper approval have delayed the project. There's a $15,000 allowance for winter conditions. With the start date occurring now in October, I have serious doubts that this amount will be sufficient to cover the winter condition hardships that may occur. Noting that the roofing contractor is yet to be awarded, this can present a possible delay in drying in the building shell, which could also add to winter condition costs due to the penetration and freeze-thaw issues. So as mentioned, that $15,000 for winter conditions is an allowance, which means that the funds are not used, they would be credited as a savings to the project. So if this project was delayed until spring of '22, that'd be a $15,000 credit right off the bat. So I have other concerns about the updated budget and subcontractor awards that Myron has provided. First, an item that caught my attention on the budget was near the midway point of the first page. It's listed as general conditions. This is typically where the staff rates and fees for the construction manager or general contractor is listed. The total for the general conditions on this project is listed at $249,000. That is a substantial fee, in my opinion, for a project that this small in square footage, and over half of it is basically garage space. So I'm concerned we may not be getting the lowest possible prices for the work that will be performed. I take issue with the number of subcontractors listed on the budget. For a project this small, having 21 subcontractors creates an awful lot of coordination for a project. If there's any type of scope change or spec change, there's a lot of moving parts to get things figured out and keep them moving along efficiently. Also, in the market right now, as far as prices for materials, it seems that lumber is slowly starting to come down. Obviously, these prices were ballooned up due to COVID. So, in my opinion, it might make a little more sense to try to hold off until spring on this project. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, we're not over budget. We're still under budget. We're under the 2.7 million that was approved by council. We were over on bid day on September 2nd by 146,000. We've worked with the construction manager and internally on our owner operations costs to reduce that amount to back under $2.7 million. This was done by contingency being dropped from 164,694 to 100,000. A change in window manufacturer saved 9,280. Heater and gear storage area, we're going to keep the existing one in there. It's only 6-7 years old. That was $1,300. The dry sprinkler part of the system, the sprinkler system, the dry part in the attic, we're going with black pipe instead of galvanized piping. Savings of $2,378. Solid color tiles in the bathrooms, $5,169. PEX piping instead of copper for the plumbing, we save $5,479. On the owner side, we reduced $7,000 by the exhaust system, going from an Utterman to a Plymouth vent. A fixed system instead of being on a rail, that was a $7,000 savings. We since then have received bids on what we call the low voltage, the paging speakers, the Cat 5 wiring, the pull the wiring. We are under budget on there. We could cut $15,000 off on that. Our current officers are going to keep their desk. We do have some money saved for desk in there, but we cut that by $15,000, $1,000 by $1,000 for an air compressor. So we are back. It's not 3 million. It is under 2.7 million, which I guaranteed we were going to stay under. I would not come and ask for more money. So we are under the 2.7 million. The 2.36 million guaranteed maximum price is Myron's end. And then you do have the 5 Bugles design fee in there of $225,000. And then our owner costs are reduced from $157,830 to $109,900. As far as Alderman, time frame, I can't comment on that. I'm not a construction, but maybe David could. This project is needed. This project has been in the works for 2.5 years. Our men and women deserve a station that's functionable, that meets their needs, that's equitable, that houses everybody that we have. I fear pushing it off is only going to delay it, and we don't know what's going to happen with prices. They could go up. You hear about stock market, inflation going up. I think it's a mistake to hold off on this project unless it can't be completed in a timely manner, meeting the concerns of the start date of the construction, and maybe David can comment on that.
David, do you have any thoughts on the comment?
Yeah, I mean, if we were to delay the project this spring, I mean, I understand the thoughts there as far as potentially, lumber is improving. Altman Construction ended up with the vast majority of the lumber, actually all of it, locally. So there is that option, but I don't think that the lumber number is that much of a value that it's going to, save you significant dollars to delay. You may get a few other contractors that'll bid the project, or you may lose some contractors that'll no longer bid it. People get busy, they book up. So I guess it's not my call to delay the project, but I think if we did delay it, you would either have to reach out to all the contractors that, have been reached out to and bid the apparent low bidders and either update their numbers for a spring start or potentially rebid the entire project, which, to Chief's point, you know right now where your value stands. That's Myron's guaranteed maximum price. If you were to rebid it, obviously we don't know if the number would go up or down. So I guess that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Go ahead.
So I'd like to touch on something that David mentioned, Altman Construction. It's my understanding, well, I also work for a union trade contractor company in the Bold Company, and we are signatory to certain trades in the construction field, being the carpenters, the laborers, the ironworkers, operating engineers, and that's a contract that a company signs that they will use only the union labor to construct their construction projects. Now, it's confusing to me how Altman can be a subcontractor to Myron on this project when they are non-union. Can you kind of cover that, David? How is that copacetic?
Sure. Yeah, and I can appreciate that. So it's a topic that does come up with Myron. We are union as well. Carpenters, ironworkers, laborers, cement finishers. So I do understand the question, but my understanding of the way the contracts are written on a construction manager contract, the current AIA contract we're working under, we're not restricted to those union trades. So because it is publicly funded and we're trying to get the best bang for the buck for Wisconsin Rapids, we open it up accordingly.
I'll just say that I don't believe there's, I think you're going to have a little blowback from the unions on this, and I just hate to see Scabby the Rat or someone standing in front of our new fire station addition giving us some negative PR on this subject. And I think that's a real possibility. Also, you got Chippewa Concrete as a subcontractor as well, and they've done numerous projects here in the city, and it's been very shoddy quality work. And there's been some headaches there as far as the city dealing with that subcontractor as well. So, I mean, there's some issues here, and I don't feel comfortable moving this along with what I'm seeing right now.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Your pin drop. I'll call Matt out since I haven't heard from him. Do you have any questions, Matt?
No.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, I just had a question on these alternates, and I was confused whether, the bathrooms at Station 2 and so on, whether those are any decisions that needed to be made today as part of this or at a later time? David or Chief?
It was my understanding it would be at a later time to
Okay.
see where we were in the project.
Okay.
Station 2's came in way under, which is amazing. It was 96,643, but obviously where we're sitting right now, just under the 2.7 million, it's not a fit for what we were
Right.
asking for. A11152 were the alternate bids, 5,163 for additional concrete work, where we store the dumpster. The lighting and the current apparatus bay at Station 1 and a new electrical panel was under budget. Everything's under budget. That's great, other than the big thing, 7,228. And cleaning the duct systems in the existing back apparatus bays. Duct systems, cleaning them in the existing apparatus bay was 3,490. The budget, right now where it sits, could maybe take on a couple of those smaller ones, but the big one was Station 2, the renovation upstairs with the bathrooms, and that right now is not in scope as far as what I'm concerned, unless we get deep into the project and we can release some of that contingency money. And we do have money on the owner side of our responsibilities with the low voltage and wire pulling. We did hold a bid we received on pulling wires, and that was just over 20,000. Our IT department said they're willing to help us out, but we wanted to hold that money to see when it came time to pull those wires, where they were at, if they had the time, and they would be able to commit to that. That would be a savings. So as far as Station 2 goes, I was hoping later in on the project if that would be an option.
Mayor, I will say we're having a little bit of a hard time hearing a little bit of the conversation. So was the question on would alternates need to be approved tonight?
That's correct.
Was that the question?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
So David, I don't know if you heard that, but how long are the alternates ultimately how long are the bids good for on the alternates is the question.
Yeah, I mean, as Chief mentioned, currently the way the budget stands, the alternates are not, I guess, in my opinion, on the table as it stands right now. Generally speaking, we can get subcontractors to hold their pricing for 30 to 60 days under normal circumstances, but we're in anything but normal right now. So we would try to lock those in for as long as we possibly could, but I don't think we'd be able to lock those prices in for the duration of the project. So that's why they're, I guess, on the document they're not showing as accepted or anything, but they are listed so everybody has an understanding what the value was at bid day.
Thank you. Go ahead, Chair.
I guess my thought is, not that we want to rush into anything, but I mean, we have been working on this. I mean, I'm new as well, but I mean, I followed it. This is a project that the city has been working on for a long time. I know in the past, I've always followed city council. The council makes a decision to do a project, and as it gets closer and closer, and they pull out and they back out and they back out. The project's under budget. We've been looking at this, and I guess I'd like to make a motion to approve it. No one knows what's going to happen in the future. Prices could go down. Prices could go up. I mean, if we keep stalling and stalling, I mean, we could rebid everything. How long is that going to take? I mean, now we're out past spring. A lot of contractors already have bids out for spring. I just say we move forward with it. That's our jobs here. We've reviewed it for quite a long time. Like I said, I'd make a motion to approve the contract as is. Thank you.
So we have a motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I have a second by Zacher. Is any further discussion? Seeing none. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, we have talked about this a long time. I was here on the second or whatever when the bids were opened. I guess, and I was hoping we would proceed and go through with it. One thing that did strike me, being there that night, late afternoon, was the number of bids that there were. For one, I don't think I ever was in a bid opening where there, for anything of, the size that there were that many, so, not the number of bids you'd want, but for different number of different, projects in it, within or whatever, that way. But, something, as much as I'd like to move forward with it, and I guess I've said as much before that I'd like to see it get going, something this afternoon is just, I guess, at least for right now, I don't know, it struck me the wrong way. It somewhat has made me, I know there's a guaranteed price, or supposedly, but that's really, I think that, I didn't even add it up here, but it's totally cutting it pretty close to the, with 100,000, I guess, in contingency there would be, but if anything else came up, and we don't have a roofer, that as much as I'd like to say go, there's just something that says whoa. And I guess if that is what would be, then and obviously the time of the year it would have to be, and if you go through the rebidding, it wouldn't be till spring. I would think that that because of now, if that's what took place, and that it is the end of September yet, that if that's the route we went, that we'd be able to get in. I would think somebody bid on that for September project. And I know it's something we need, something that we've talked about a long time. I don't know, maybe this is one that it's, even though we were there, it came in under budget, that's the hardest part. It's under what we committed to do. Just something that just doesn't, today doesn't, sit right. I think Ryan has made some, definitely has made some, I think, good points. And I don't know if we wait till spring, what that brings. instead of having a opening in June or whenever it's supposed to be, we wouldn't have one until November or whatever, probably, so. But I would think that we'd be able to get see what we could come up with if we rebid the project, so it's, with some things that were brought up today, I think there's just, vote yes becomes hard to do. And I have supported this all along, that I guess this is one I think that needs maybe some more not more thought, I guess maybe just bite the bullet here now and with the intention of that the project would be there, but that it would be next spring. Maybe that's the route to go. Like I said, it's a hard one to do because it does come in under budget. But there's just some things that have been said that I don't know. It just we're close to the limit without much room to spare. I don't know if anybody else has anything, or David has anything, or
Ms. Evanson.
I guess if anyone can answer this, so we set a budget amount that they couldn't go over, and yes, they're close. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So if we rebid the whole process and contractors are busy, they aren't able to give accurate estimates for spring, or if they come over, what are we going to do then? So as a council, I guess I would like a direction. So we asked them to do what they did. It's under budget. So we don't know what the future is going to be. Yes, it could be lower, but if it's higher, if we're worried about that it's close now, and in the spring it's more, does that mean that we're not building it then? So, and then we're just going to keep waiting and waiting. I mean, I'm not trying to rush or shove it down anyone's throat. I'm just asking. So it's under budget. In the spring, if it comes in and it's more, so then we're just going to sit on it until it gets less than what it is now because the budget's close now. I guess if anyone could just give me an idea, if it's more, are we not going to build it at all? Or what the process, if someone could explain a process for me of what we need to see so we could proceed. If it might be a year or 2 years, I don't know. If anyone has any thoughts, yes.
I'll speak. We're at the 100% design mark, so Five Bugles Design is owed their money for the design work, period. So you don't do it, you're out $225,000. Money well spent, in my opinion. Myron has put work on it as a construction manager portion of it. We owe them their money for the work they've done. We have done everything that was asked of us. There is, with this guaranteed maximum price, and there is no going up anymore. That's the guaranteed maximum price. We're within budget. Internally, we have worked our tails off to get to where we're at. We've seeked bids. We've done everything on our end. And to push this off again is very disheartening. We're under budget. I don't know what the weather holds, but there is contingency money if it needs to be heated higher. I don't know what else to do, but we are on the hook for the design fee. We are on the hook for the construction manager fee. And you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars if it comes in next spring and it's higher than what you think. and we walk away from it. It just seems foolish to me.
Patrick?
I just have a question for Alderman Austin. You came in with a statement that was very well thought out, very convincing. I believe in your statement you said that it was over budget. Is that true that you said that it was over budget?
As you've heard, we are at budget. And what I can tell you from experience is there isn't a single project that goes on that I've ever been a part of that hasn't had some type of scope revision, some type of change order, some type of issue that comes up that wasn't foreseen. And the next thing you know, we're looking for more money for the project. And to be right at that number, going into a project with winter bearing down on us is very, very worrisome for me. I'm not saying we wipe this project out. There's a very real potential that if we do wait, we've seen one of the biggest price increases in construction materials ever seen in history with COVID. There's a very good chance that prices come down into next spring on lumber. So in my opinion, I just feel like we are paying top dollar for this project. And I think we need to be as fiscally responsible as alderpersons of this city as possible to ensure that we're getting the best bang for our buck, you know, for all this tax money, borrowed money that we are putting into this project.
And then, so then Chief Young says that we're under budget. Alderman Evanson says that we're under budget. You're saying we are under budget, but it's really close. And then in your second response, you mentioned something about unions. Now, I'm fine with you being a union guy. That's fine. Does that have more of a role in this? I know you work for Bolt. Does that play any type? Are we looking at this from the alderman position, or are we looking at this from a union construction worker?
We're most definitely looking at this from the alderman position. I'm not out there trying to run anybody's name into the dirt or anything like that. What I'm looking at is a project that is chopped up with contractors coming in from all over the state. I would love to see a contractor like Myron self-perform a lot more work on this project than what they are doing. Every subcontractor that you bring into this project, that's a fee on their end. I mean, how can you be telling me that you're getting the best pricing when you have so many moving parts in this project? I just, in my mind, that there's no way you're getting the best bang for your buck. And this is the first time that I saw the breakdown. I've been in support of this project from the beginning up until this point.
Thank you.
I guess I could comment on that aspect of breaking it up. I would actually argue the other direction, that by breaking it up, it allows more contractors to bid on the work on the different scopes, which allows you to secure more bids. We secured multiple bids for every bid package other than roofing. So yes, you're paying a fee, but every single contractor is in business to make money. So every contractor, regardless, has fees on their bids. But by getting multiple contractors in every single section, you're getting the best bang for your buck. So we bid every single package out. We split it up the way we do on every other project throughout the state of Wisconsin, and we consistently come in, you know, at or under budget. And I think we've done that here as well.
Thank you.
I'd also just like to comment on the selection of other contractors. I think Wisconsin Rapids would ultimately have to probably get their legal representation involved if not selecting the low bid was something they wanted to entertain. I've been doing this 20 years, and it's always taking the low bid, and I've never had any luck not taking the low bid. So I just want to put that out there on the table, that you're kind of going on a slippery slope if we're not going to accept the low bid and ultimately, you know, look for a different contractor in the end, being public money and public funds. So I just want to put that out there.
I got to disagree with you there. I mean, you got contractors on that list that have done shoddy work in the past for the city, and I think we should have a say and if we're going to allow a contractor like that to do work on anything moving forward.
Sue, do you have a?
On that topic, I guess from Myron's perspective, is these are our recommended contractors based on scope review and values that were provided on bid day. It is the council's and City of Rapids prerogative to select a second place contractor if you would like. However, that obviously increases the guaranteed maximum price and kind of where we stand on the budget. So we've called the low qualified bidders. We've worked with all of these contractors before, including like Chippewa Concrete, like was referenced, and we have not seen the same issues out of at least Chippewa there. So Myron is guaranteeing the maximum price as stated in the document, and at this point, by guaranteeing that maximum price, the risk is on us for that scope and those contractors.
I guess I'll ask Sue about regarding the lowest. On a public bid, you have to take the lowest, correct?
Right. And I mean, this is because we're doing the basically construction manager at risk model. That's why you have all these different trades bids and taking the lowest bid. And in addition, can still do the guaranteed maximum price from the construction manager. So, and Myron, it's my understanding Myron could bid on some of those trades, and that bid was given, I don't know when it's here from Public Works, but those bids were sealed and given before the opening, so they did have an opportunity to take more or less of the work or be entitled, or, make bids. So they could have been chosen on some of the trades, and I think they seemed like there was maybe something here that was being done, concrete and masonry. But the remaining trades, it's my recommendation to take the lowest responsible qualified bidder. Now, I guess if Alderperson Austin is raising the issue of whether these bidders are considered qualified by the city, I guess I don't have any experience with any of these, and I don't know if I would take Myron's expertise in the area in terms of their responsiveness to the bid and their ability to perform the work and their familiarity with them. I don't have any information that they are not qualified.
I think Bemke was first, unless you're revoking your request.
Thank you. So, a couple things. First, Chief, I know you guys have worked hard to get this to the budget, that we've required. I think everybody understands when we do these projects, more than likely there's going to be a little overrun, but we do understand that you worked hard to get this within the budget, and we do appreciate it. I appreciate that. But the fact of the matter is that we have a project without a roof coming into winter, and I'll be honest with you, I can't support a project without a roof going into winter. So I don't know that we have to reinvent the wheel here. We have identified a project. We've got bids accepted on a project. And Sue, maybe Chief mentioned that we've got $200,000 into 5 Bugles. Those are our plans now, correct? I mean, we paid for them.
Right, and they would be useful if we do the project, right? I don't know how, right, I don't know to what extent, obviously Myron's guaranteed maximum price is going to be off the table. I don't know what.
I thought you said 30 to 60 days.
Well, I think he was talking about the subcontractors. Yeah, they might, I'm not sure. I guess they can speak to that, of what this means in terms of their guaranteed maximum price. But if, and it's my understanding on the roofing that that's part of the price, so that's Myron that's going to, if it's over that amount, or maybe they can explain the 70,000 for the roofing.
The issue with the roof isn't the money. The issue is we don't have a roof.
Well, I'm just saying that that's going to be part of the project, and that no matter what, Okay, I guess I was focusing on the amount, if you were concerned about it going over.
I'm not, again, I started out by saying I think the fire departments and everybody involved has worked hard to get this within a budget that we approve. If we can get it cheaper, that would be fantastic, but we are closing in on October. This project does not have a roof right now, and I have some concerns about that. Thank you.
Ms. Evanson?
When was groundbreaking supposed to start? Can anyone answer me that question? Did we have a tentative date of when it was, when we were approving this and budgeting that? Was there a date that we knew that we were going to start? Are we delayed in that? Is that, I mean, is this the issue, or
We were hoping by late September. We're off about a week.
about a week? Okay. And I agree with Sue. I don't have knowledge in the trades, and some of you do, but I don't think it's the city council's position to go through, I mean, and be the project manager. That's what we paid somebody to do. So for us to go through and, I mean, yes, we want the best bang for our buck. We are under budget. This is a maximum bid. We can't go over this, if I'm understanding this correctly.
Correct.
So I don't see what the issue is. If this is a maximum amount and everyone's worried that we're going to go over, it's not. What I'm worried about is in 4 months, 5 months, we're over. Now what? Now we're back to square one. I don't know. I guess I'm just confused.
Good.
Thank you, Chief, for all the work you are doing right now. I can only imagine how much pressure you're under and how crazy it is, because I'm working on a few bigger projects myself right now, but nothing in comparison to this. And to make all these things fall into place, it's crazy. So I give you a lot of credit for being able to do it. And I don't think it's our position to stop you at this point and throw everything into chaos even more than you guys are already dealing with. I know some of the work, you'd like to think that everything that goes into every project is going to be the most top quality job that's going to be done, but that's not always the case. I mean, you're going to work with what you get. So what I'm understanding from Mr. Bemke is saying we don't have a roof yet, and it was kind of difficult to catch everything while I was driving here. But they're not going to let this go into winter without a roof. I mean, is that even an option at this point? Is that something they're worried about?
David, you're
I guess
on there.
I could- Yeah, I can answer that question. I talked to my project manager, who's been speaking with roofing contractors, and the Molina, the contractor that bid us on bid day, is getting us their revised price tomorrow. And they've shown high interest in the project. They're willing to commit to the schedule to get it on when we need it. So the $70,000 allowance is just there to ensure any additional costs they had for that fascia and the soffit material. So and any plus or minuses, if it came in underneath the $70,000 allowance, then that additional funds will go back into contingency, which, if unused, goes back to the city at the end of the project. We don't anticipate it coming over substantially over the $70,000 allowance that we have there, and if it did come slightly over, again, the guaranteed maximum price would not change. It is what it is. It's a guaranteed maximum price, and at this time, that's the only scope that is a question mark. But again, we're confident we will have a roofer. We have at least 3 interested parties that are interested in the project and willing to do it and meet our schedule. At this time, I mean, I'm not concerned about not getting a roof on it as scheduled currently.
Thank you. So we gave you guys the approval to go for 2.7, and that's what you guys have done. And for us to take that away now, I think would be a little bit irresponsible on our part and kind of crazy, because this isn't a little project that's happening here. This is a pretty major undertaking, and I wouldn't want to put that kind of pressure on everybody that's been a part of the process, and then try to put it back together again in hopes that it might come in a little bit cheaper. So I'm in favor of allowing them to move forward.
Again, I would like to make a motion to move forward with this. We are under budget. We're off a week. We have maximum prices that, what it can be. I don't understand. I think we need to move forward with this and move on, so I'd like to make a motion to approve it. Thank you.
I think we had a motion and a second already on the floor. Go ahead, Patrick.
You've been involved in this since the beginning, I'm sure. I would like to know what your thoughts are.
Oh, boy, I've been struggling, you know, I've been a big proponent of this project since the beginning. I think I've been probably one of the first ones talking about gender inequity within our fire departments. And I've been a proponent of, adding, addressing the living quarters. I guess I personally have become more disappointed that, Station 2 isn't being done because it's outside the scope. And then I'm also concerned that, it's typical with every project in government. It's like, well, as long as we're doing a project, why don't we add this in here and that in there? And, I understand the struggles at Station 1, trying to use Station 1 as the first station, and then you're doing your training and everything at Station 2, which is not handicap accessible, but that's where the training room is in. So I'm struggling with some aspects here, to be honest, and I am concerned about a roof. I do agree with Mr. Zacher about, the ceiling was set, and that price has not hit that ceiling. And, my question is, can there be a change order? Can there be a problem that would cause somebody in 2 months from now or 3 months from now to come and say, hey, we need more because we had a substantial change? Or is this the price no matter what? If something happens or we find something in the project, can somebody come back down the road and say, hey, we need another $250,000 or something along those lines? I don't know if that can happen, and that's a concern. So I'm sorry I was non-committal on an exact answer right now because I'm struggling. Go ahead.
I just have two questions. One is, I guess I didn't get my question answered or I missed it, but these plans belong to us, correct? $200,000 worth of plans are ours?
Yes, once we pay for them.
Which, if we owe money, we owe money. The second question is, and maybe is it David, the gentleman from Myron? How long is this guaranteed rate good for?
Yep. I would have to check with our subcontractors. Again, this market is tough. We put in the documents that 60 days from bid time they would hold their price. So that's kind of what we would hold at this point. I think anything beyond that, we would need to kind of at least reach back out to the low responsible qualified bidders and just confirm that their price is still good.
So if it was 50, when was it? Do you know when were the bids let? Where are we at? What day are we on now?
I believe it's 3 weeks ago.
So I think there's some questions that are unanswered here yet. There's nothing saying that this can't come back, that can get some questions answered. Again, I just can't support the project the way it is right now. So we've identified we have a need. We've budgeted for it. I just can't go forward with the project the way it is. So thank you.
Shane?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I guess another thing, or backing up again to what Ryan had, one thing he had said before, and with the change order, I don't know, I can't remember what the original amount was, 300,000 or something, but whatever it was, 150. Just to reiterate, I think what he has said, that you see where it's the maximum. I don't know if I can think of a project that it doesn't come back and they want, the contingency is for changes in the project. And there seems to always be something that comes up that changes become warranted. And so the less money that's in that contingency, then you don't have that. That's the contingency's a cushion. The other, I have a hard time, I've supported this too. Another thing is that the bids came in over. But whatever they got, were able to come down. So how much, I'm not saying it was cheap, necessarily cheaper, but some of the, how do you say, instead of something that'd be a grade 4 tile or something, you put in a grade 3.5 or whatever. So or 3. So did you cheapen yourself more than what you should have to have done something like that to get it under that budget amount? So, there's just some questions that are there. I agree, that concern is the roof, because it has to be closed up for wintertime, that's for sure. There's no doubt about it. And that's the big concern, and that's why with the bids opening early September and that, hoping to break ground the middle part or so of September, that's what was the goal. So that could hopefully be accomplished, but it's, it's just, and I think, some other, obviously, whoever's overseeing, Myron and that, hopefully that, for sure, whoever's, would be doing the, the subcontracting or whatever, such as concrete and that would, hopefully would all be inspected, that it would be met up, up to par, that it passed the test, and that type of stuff. And it was said here tonight, so, the pulling us some of the wires, that was another one, just bringing back within the budget, was to have it done in-house, to save possibly $20,000 or so. So it's we're running right. It just seems to be running right close, and which I guess I knew coming in, but listening to some comments that I guess had my eyes open up more this evening. So that's the biggest problem with making the decision right now. But that's just, and as Mayor, you mentioned about the Station 2, but something that we have to do it. That's the thing, and I don't, it's a gamble. I mean, we go ahead. I guess we know what we're looking at. We put it off. We do have money invested in it. I guess my intention would be that we would go forward with it, with the project. Jay's brought up about $225,000 or whatever we got in on that part of it, and that it's not wouldn't be a waste. So I don't know. I guess we're just about to the point of having to raise our hands one way or the other.
Some of your concerns you brought up, Tom. Nothing in this project has been cheapened. The cuts that were made were sprinkler systems going to black piping instead of galvanized. Some of the flooring, instead of having patterns in it, it's going to be a solid color. I don't think that's cheapening it. We went with a different window manufacturer. Internally, we still have Solaris's contract to pull the wire for us, and that is in there. We have $20,000 set aside for Solaris to pull the wires. It is an option for IT to come in and do it later when needed, if they have time, but we were not comfortable in removing that $20,000, so that is still on the owner's part of it. So we have not taken that money out and applied it to this overall bid. Solaris's bid is still in there. So we are holding that $20,000 in case IT could not meet what was needed or they are busy. But that is an option to save some money. If we get close, the goal with that is a contingency there, and we can save $20,000 there. Maybe we can get to the point towards the end of the project where somehow we could still get in Station 2. But right now, Station 2, throughout this whole process, never was in scope. It's an alternate bid. Station 2 was never included in the 2.7 million. It was Station 1. So that was never part of this process. It was hopeful that we could get it in when the bids came in on September 2nd, and that was a goal. But it is what it is. The bids came in, and we are under budget for Station 1, and we are hopeful to get, Station 2. I serious concerns now. But overall, the project has not been cheapened, and we are not counting on IT to pull our wires at this time. That money is still in the budget.
And I just would like to clarify, and excuse me, Scott, is that I didn't mean it was cheapened, that's why I questioned of how you said it, and before the 3.5 was just, I guess, maybe more in the aesthetic look to it. So that some, the looks of what it is, so not necessarily.
Yeah, we really.
Not that the quality.
Right, no, I hear you.
I didn't mean that.
Yeah, no, when we looked at to get it, the 146,000 back under budget, that was a priority of ours. We're not going to make this look bad. We're not going to do something that would jeopardize the overall quality of the project. So we were very careful on what we selected, that we could reduce prices on, looking at some windows and, piping and tile work. It's going to look great. It's going to meet our needs. I think we've done everything we can. I don't know what else to say anymore, so.
One of the big points was it not having a roof. I mean, that makes sense that you wouldn't start a project without having a roof. And Myron says that they do have contractors that are putting in bids for that. I wouldn't expect a professional company like Myron to start and then have something weathered because it doesn't have a roof on. And then there being additional cost because there is damage to something that's already done. And I don't think it's our place really to play construction manager like Ms. Evanson had said. So, yeah, I think I'm going to vote yes on this one.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Go ahead.
Just want to say quick that I won't go over the 2.7 million. Just putting that out there now.
So, and I guess as my follow-up question to David, is there any way, any scenario, anything in the contract that would give you an opening to come back and say we need more money?
Our guaranteed maximum price is good for the scope and the construction documents as presented. So the only time we've ever seen anything like that come up is if additional scope was added, right? Like if we're doing the project and all of a sudden there's another, like Station 2, we're like, hey, we do want to get that in, seems you're here, and that clearly adds scope to the project. At that time, then we would need additional funding to increase our guaranteed maximum price. But as the project is presented right now with construction documents, provided by Five Bugles, no, there's no way for us to come back. I mean, by definition, it's a guaranteed maximum price for the documents as presented. Plus, we've already commented on the contingency. That is why we are able to offer guaranteed maximum prices. We do carry contingency. I believe currently we kind of, to help with the overage on bid day, we did decrease the contingency quite a bit to kind of get us where we needed to be to get this project to move forward on Chief's behalf here. So, we've also kind of put in efforts to make sure this thing goes. We want to build this for you and the chief. We really want to do it. But that said, our contingency is still just over 4%, and on a project like this, a lot of projects typically we go in that range, the 4 to 5% range. So we're comfortable where we're at. I know somebody made a comment on unforeseen conditions. We're doing an addition. There really shouldn't be a lot of unforeseen conditions. We had geotech information for the addition, so that shouldn't be a concern. So really, your unforeseen conditions are pretty limited to the renovation portion of the project, which again, we had the documents that demolition shown. We had a walkthrough by multiple contractors. Altman walked through as well, so they're familiar with the existing conditions. So we do feel comfortable with where we're at with the guaranteed maximum price.
Thank you. Any further? Go ahead.
Is there an asbestos or lead paint report for the Station 1?
Yes. I think you want it?
I just want to make sure that information's out there.
That was done early in the project.
Ready to vote? So we probably should do roll call vote, I'm thinking. So start District 1. Austin?
No.
Zacher? Rayom? Evans? And Bemke. So the roll call vote is 4 ayes, 2 nays. So we are on to item 5, which is adjournment. We have a motion by Bemke.
Second.
Second, I heard Evanson. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I don't need to vote on that. And nay. Motion carried. Thank you, everybody, for attending a special council meeting. I know we just had one 2 days ago, but sometimes some things come up, and I appreciate it.